1. How would Tesla re-engineer Optimus V4 from scratch to scale?
Boston Dynamics has been building robots since 1992. 30 years. Billions in R&D. Atlas does backflips, parkour, genuinely one of the most impressive machines ever built. The price tag? $150,000 to $420,000 per unit.
And even if you had that kind of cash burning a hole in your pocket right now, you couldn't buy one.
Hyundai and Google DeepMind already have the entire production line.
Tesla looked at that and said, wrong game.
Here's what made me stop for a second. While everyone else was asking, how do we build the most impressive robot? Tesla was asking a completely different question. How do we build one that a factory can spit out 1,000,000 times? That's a totally different game. Tesla's own Q4 2025 shareholder update states it plainly. The Gen 3 is our first design meant for mass production. First, design meant for mass production. Every version before this, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 2.5, was essentially a proof of concept. V4 is where the real game starts.
So what does designed for mass production actually mean when you crack it open?
Then I found another clue. Optimus doesn't use 28 completely different actuators. Tesla squeezed everything down to just 7 actuator families. At first that sounds kind of boring, but if you've ever worked on a production line, you know that's a huge deal. Fewer unique parts means fewer suppliers, fewer things that can go wrong, and way faster assembly. Suddenly, you're not building one amazing robot. You're building the same robot thousands of times without the factory losing its mind. Now check out the hands. Tesla moved almost all 25 actuators per hand into the forearm, not the hand itself. Cram motors into the hand, and it gets heavier, runs hotter, and becomes a nightmare to assemble at scale. Push them into the forearm, and the hand gets lighter, cooler, easier to build, and replace on a line. That's the moment you realize Tesla isn't removing complexity from the robot. They're removing complexity from the factory. And then Tesla's own Cybercab chief engineer, Eric Earl, dropped the line that made everything click. Let me mention, we set out at the start of the project to have everything from our current products, which honestly, having our current products already means having our competitors' products in terms of complexity, part count, and so on. That same DNA is running through every bolt in V4. Now compare Optimus to Atlas. Atlas does backflips. Optimus folds laundry. But while Atlas's hardware is optimized for peak physical performance, Optimus's hardware is optimized for cost, reliability, and integration into production environments. One is built to win a talent show. The other is built to win a war of attrition. Elon Musk put a number on the ambition.
We're going to launch on the fastest production ramp of any product, of any large complex manufactured product ever.
And the physical evidence is already in the ground. Over 5.2 million square feet of new construction is going up at Giga Texas right now, with $5 to $10 billion behind it, targeting 10 million Optimus units per year.
This
For
changes
context,
everything.
Tesla delivered 1.79 million cars in all of 2024. The robot factory's stated capacity dwarfs that by nearly 6 times. Wait, what is the connection between robots and cars?
Tesla isn't treating Optimus like another product. They're building it for a scale that could eventually make their entire vehicle business look small.
The gap isn't in the demo reel. It's in the decision made at the whiteboard before a single bolt was tightened to build a robot that a factory can actually build. And every week Optimus runs inside Tesla's factories, it's generating data. That data goes somewhere. What happens to it is exactly where the 109-year gap starts to make sense. But we'll get to that number in the next sections. If this number just hit your thoughts for a second, don't forget to subscribe to AutoGearshift. We will decode that number step by step.
2. How is Tesla rebuilding Henry Ford's empire for the AI age?
Let me take you back to 1927. Henry Ford built something the world had never seen before. Iron ore arrived on one side of River Rouge, and just 3 days later, a finished car rolled out the other. Ford owned the mines, the railroads, the ships, even a rubber plantation in Brazil. He didn't just build cars, he controlled everything a car needed before the car even existed. That made Ford almost untouchable for decades.
Now stop and look at what Tesla is doing on the north side of Giga Texas right now.
There's a cluster of facilities going up, all next to each other, all connected. Cortex 2.0, Tesla's AI supercomputer, is already online. The dedicated Optimus factory just raised its first steel structure. And right next to both of them, Terafab, a $20 to $25 billion chip fabrication facility, a joint venture between Tesla, SpaceX, and xAI, with Intel joining in April 2026. You see clearly? Robot factory, AI training brain, chip fab, all on the same campus. Ford had steel, rubber, and glass under one roof. Tesla has robots, silicon, and intelligence under one roof. Different century, exactly the same playbook. But here's what Ford never had, and what makes Tesla's version genuinely terrifying for every competitor. Ford's River Rouge was powerful because it controlled materials. You can copy materials. You can build your own steel mill. You can plant your own rubber trees. What Tesla is building is different. A single AI 5 chip, designed entirely in-house, going into Optimus before it goes into any Tesla vehicle, delivers roughly 5 times the useful compute of the previous generation. Musk himself said on X that solving AI 5 was existential to Tesla, and he personally spent every Saturday for several months working on it. Let that sink in. The CEO of a $1 trillion company personally shows up every Saturday to work on a chip. This isn't a press release. This is someone who knows the gap he's building and doesn't want to slow down. And the chip goes to Optimus first. Not to Tesla cars, not to Cybercab. Optimus gets it first.
Do you know why? Why did Optimus have the priority to receive the latest chips first?
Share what you think about it with me in the comments. Honestly, Optimus needs to compute far more than a car ever did. A Tesla vehicle makes about 36 driving decisions every second. Optimus has to do something much crazier at the same time. Control 28 actuators, balance on 2 legs, understand what it's touching, and react instantly to the world around it. That's an entirely different level of intelligence. So Tesla didn't just build a robot, they built an ecosystem around it. Cortex 2.0 alone is a 500-megawatt supercomputer with more than 230,000 H100 equivalent GPUs, sitting right next to where Optimus is built and right next to where its chips are expected to come from. Henry Ford spent 12 years assembling the River Rouge. Tesla appears to be trying to assemble its AI version in about 24 months. But here's the biggest difference. Steel can be bought. Rubber can be bought. Railroads can be built. An AI training loop that learns every single day? That's not something you can order from a supplier. The gap isn't in the robot, it's in the speed of learning. And when you shrink that gap enough, something strange happens. The calendar starts looking different. Let's come to the number, 109 now.
3. How fast can Optimus actually evolve?
When an Optimus unit finishes its shift at the Tesla factory, it doesn't just power down. Every unit working the floor has been generating continuous data, 8 cameras running the entire shift, capturing every task, every failure, every successful grip. That data goes straight to Cortex 2.0. The model gets retrained, and by the time that robot clocks back in the next morning, it is literally running a smarter brain than the day before, every single night. Now compare that with the traditional robotics world. Data gets uploaded to a third-party cloud, training jobs wait in line, companies pay for compute by the hour, engineers validate the model, approve it, package it, and finally push it back to the robot. That process can take days or weeks. Tesla appears to be doing the same thing overnight. And once you realize this isn't happening once, but every day, the gap starts feeling very different. Tesla's Vice President of AI, Ashok Elliswamy, revealed in late 2025 that Tesla's autonomous driving stack transfers seamlessly to Optimus. Same neural networks, same infrastructure, same learning system. Optimus doesn't begin at zero. It inherits knowledge gathered from more than 8.2 billion miles of real-world driving data. A shock called it a Niagara Falls of data. Millions of Teslas are generating training signals somewhere on Earth right now. Figure can't buy that. Boston Dynamics can't buy that. Nobody can rewind time and collect billions of miles overnight, and Tesla keeps accelerating the loop. A worker shows Optimus a task once, maybe folding a shirt, and the system can generate thousands of synthetic variations automatically. Different lighting, different angles, different objects. One demonstration suddenly becomes 10,000 practice sessions before the robot ever touches the real world again. That's where the number 109 comes from. A traditional robotics company may complete around 15 learning cycles in a year. Tesla could be running closer to 180 cycles. That's already a 12 times advantage in learning speed. But learning compounds. After 10 years, Tesla wouldn't simply be 10 years ahead. It could have accumulated the equivalent experience of more than a century of traditional iteration. That's what the number 109 means. Not that Tesla built a robot from the future, but that Tesla may have built a system where progress itself happens so fast that everyone else starts feeling like they're operating on last century's schedule. The advantage isn't the robot, it isn't Cortex, it isn't even the chip. It's what happens when manufacturing, computing, and intelligence all live inside the same loop, and that loop never ends. That's what I'm really pointing at. Not that Tesla literally traveled 109 years into the future, but that they may have built a system where progress itself moves so much faster that everyone else starts looking like they're operating on last century's schedule. At what point does Optimus stop being Tesla's product and start becoming Tesla's engineer? Let's find out in the next one.